Hey everyone, and welcome to the VitaCast episode 12. I'm your host, Tyler Olthoff, and with me is Kyle Wakeling.
Hey guys.
Brian Sharon.
Cheerio.
Yuki is in the chat as usual. Jasper is not here this week, unfortunately. He's been busy playing Terraria. Just kidding, I have no idea what he's doing. Anyways, let's head on over to a few things that I've been playing. You're going to notice that a few things are just the same as last time I talked about what I've been playing because it's only been like a couple days. And I'm sucked into these games already. Terraria, obviously, up top. Been playing that nonstop. Been playing more Mutant Mud, still working on that review. Hopefully I can get that done pretty soon. I've been playing a bit of Ollie Ollie, just got that. Kyle's going to be reviewing that later on next week, so look out for that. Also played a bit of PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, kicking ass like normal. Kyle can't handle it. Also played a little bit of Little Big Planet, and that was fun. Minus I had a couple issues with connecting. We were doing the lounge play and whatnot, and Scott and I couldn't connect to each other after a while, and it was frustrating. So that's why our Little Big Planet video is shorter than normal if you are watching that. Also, including lounge play, I played a little bit of Sonic All-Stars Racing, and that was fun. It's a lot better than I was expecting. I think we talked a bit about that game when it first came out on PlayStation Plus, and yeah, Kyle and I like it. Also, been diving into a bit more of Spelunky. Played some multiplayer with a friend at work. I brought both my Vitas to work because I'm trying to convince him to get a Vita, and it's actually working. He was like getting really mad because he's like, "Okay, you're making me really want a Vita right now, and this is not helping." And I was like, "Ha ha ha ha." So, yeah, hopefully I'll have another Vita sold soon. And that's about all I've been playing. I'm sure there's something else, but I can't think of it. Kyle, what about you?
Well, like you, I've also played Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed and PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale for the lounge play, although I dipped out before the Little Big Planet session because I wasn't feeling that great. I've also been playing some Rayman Origins, trying to finish that up. And I dug into Ollie Ollie, and it's pretty awesome. I'll tell you about that later this week when my review goes up. What about you, Brad?
This week I celebrated my 5th year anniversary with my lady, so I haven't had all that much time to play Vita games, but what I have been playing is Ollie Ollie, like the both of you, and I've been enjoying it. It's not the grind everybody was saying it was. All right. Not a huge round of applause on that one. Other than that, I've been playing a bunch of Euphoria for review, which I said I would be out last weekend. Unfortunately, my anniversary stuff took precedent. I know. But other than that, it's been a bunch of games, including Spelunky, Sega All-Stars Racing. Just those few games. I haven't really had time to dig in as much as I would like.
Boo.
I know.
Who needs a girlfriend, right? Mine's imaginary. Just kidding. Anywho, sweet. Well, what about releases, Brian? Do we got stuff this week?
Well, in North America, we do for certain. This week we have Age of Zombies, which is released today. Doodle Devil, also out today. And as well, the recently announced Guacamelee Bundle Fantastico, which includes a bunch of DLC, themes, avatars, and a bunch of other stuff that you have to check out on our website. Olé. And as well, if you're looking for a PS1 classic, there's a bunch of them that were rare imports coming by way of Monkey Paw, and today we're getting Double Dragon, the rare import based on the film of the same name. And on a non-gaming note, Tearaway soundtrack has also been made available as a standalone download on the PlayStation Store today. But in Europe, I believe that will be available tomorrow, so you're going to have to wait tomorrow, Europe. Sorry.
Interesting. All right. Do you guys even know what Doodle Devil is? Because I've never heard of it.
I'm pretty sure it's like that other one, Doodle God, that you reviewed. So, yeah. Take from that what you will.
Well, I hated Doodle God, so I'm excited for Doodle Devil. Anyways, who knows? Maybe they made it better. I'm probably going to avoid it. All right, let's head on over to the news for this week. First up, we got the English-only localization for Tokuden. With the North American and European release of Tecmo Koei's Tokuden on the horizon, news of Tokuden: The Age of Demons, featuring an English language-only localization, has emerged via Koei's Facebook page. So it seemed a fan of the page asked if the game would be translated in different languages in Europe, and a representative of Tecmo Koei answered that it's Japanese voice with English subtitles only. So hopefully you can read English or speak Japanese, or you're not going to enjoy this game unless the combat is so amazing you don't care what they're saying or whatever the subtitles say. Kyle, does this bug you at all?
No, I actually prefer to play games in their original language with subtitles, so this is kind of perfect for me. But I understand how some other people might think that it's, cheating them or them being cheap when they're trying to localize it, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, it is, for me, it's not frustrating, but I do like having games with English voice. I mean, I know there's a lot of people out there that, like you just said, that love having the original voice of what the game was designed for, but I find it more interesting when it's in English, but at least they have subtitles, so I can at least read what's going on, so I'm not going to be too worried about that, and if the game's amazing, then it's not going to matter at all, really, to me. But, yeah, I could see people being frustrated, especially if you live in a country that speaks, like, let's say you live in France, and all you know is French. You're screwed. The game ships in North America on February 11th and Europe on February 14th, so look out for that game if you're interested in it. Let's head on over to the next bit. Final Fantasy X2 sells out in Japan. So there's a lot of numbers here, but basically it's doing pretty well. I'll read a couple lines here, so if you want, go check the site if you want to read the full story. But the PlayStation Vita Twin Pack has managed to sell 149,132 copies in its first week, and the totals come out to 87% of the total copies shipped. It's not too bad. Week 2 sales had increased to a total of 182,170 copies, and that is 97% of the game shipped, so it seems to be doing quite well. Let's hope that it continues the success throughout the next couple of weeks, and when it comes to North America on March 18th and Europe in March 21st, I'm getting it. I've already talked about this almost every episode that I'm getting it, and Kyle and Brian don't care. So, yeah, that's exciting for a Final Fantasy fan like myself. It's not really too much else to talk about. It's doing good. That's good news. Maybe Square Enix will make another HD version of a game that everyone wants, like Final Fantasy VII, huh? Yeah. Anywho. Next bit of news, Forgotten Memories is being finalized for PlayStation Network. This game was announced back in summer of 2013. Wait, after being announced... Oh, having a release of summer of 2013, so it's a little late. The developer Psychos Interactive announced that they would be releasing the survival horror title Forgotten Memories sometime in 2014, hopefully. They're saying quarter 1, so January, February, or March, I believe that's quarter 1. So hopefully pretty soon. It's a survival horror type game that looks quite interesting. It takes place in an isolated hospital that was built in 1910 and then closed down in 1979. You play as a girl named Rose Hawkins, an inspector trying to solve a murder, and you're searching for a missing girl at the same time. So yeah, I like scary games, and I know that I really want to make some Let's Plays on my YouTube channel, because I like to get scared, and people enjoy watching people get scared, so perfect. It's a win-win. And the game looks interesting, so go check it out on YouTube or something. I think they have a little bit of gameplay on there, and it looks interesting. Are any of you guys interested in this game at all?
Yeah, it looks completely like a throwback to the old Silent Hills and the old Resident Evils, and I think that's something that we've been sorely missing on the PlayStation Vita is the survival horror experiences, and in general, to be honest with you, across all consoles. So yeah, I'm definitely interested. I'm not quite certain how it'll play. It seems to be episodic in nature, which is something interesting, but I'll definitely give it a go.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'm definitely interested, and I love that they're actually putting out some survival horror games for Vita, so I'll be looking for it.
Nice. But yeah, I don't know how the episodic thing will work. I mean, I'm starting to notice a lot of developers throw out that episodic feature, and it's kind of like, okay, well, here we go. I'm going to get the first episode and wait another year to play it. Jacob Jones. So... Yeah, well, hopefully they have a nice release schedule for the episodes, because it is a little frustrating when you get a game and you gotta wait forever to continue playing the game. Alright, next up, Monkey Paw opens the PlayStation 1 Vault in retro games. So Brian talked about it earlier in the releases that Double Dragon is coming today, but Monkey Paw is also bringing out a few more PlayStation 1 games. We have a list on the site. January 21st is Lucifer Ring. January 28th, The Fireman 2, Pete and Danny.
Oh, yeah.
Is that a good one?
Yeah, Fireman's actually a pretty good game.
Never heard of it.
I urge you to give it a go when it comes out.
You urge me to give it a go.
Yeah.
All right, I'll take a look. We'll see. Anywho,
right.
February 4th, that's my mother's birthday. Happy Crazy Climber. February 11th, Wolffang, and February 18th, Tomba, however you say it, 2, The Evil Swine Return. So, if any of those tickle your fancy doodle, then go grab one of those. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Next up, Gunslugs and Heroes of Loot heading to PlayStation Vita soon. It looks as though the PlayStation Vita versions of Orange Pixel's mobile titles Gunslugs and Heroes of Loot could be on their way in the near future. News of each game's impending release came via Twitter by the Dutch developers themselves. Here's one of their tweets. We've been a bit sluggish, those are in quotes, sluggish, on news, but February, hashtag best on Vita. Get it? Sluggish, Vita, February. So yeah, that seems very interesting.
Very obscure and very hidden messaging here.
Yeah, I don't know if they're talking about the 3DS or not. It's really hard to tell.
I don't know.
So be careful. Also, there was a tweet by Orange Pascal. That's his handle.
Yeah, that's his handle.
Not his name. If his name was Orange, that'd be pretty awesome. But he says, quote, and there it goes. Heroes of Loot source code is sent to @abstraction game, ready for porting to PlayStation Vita, winky faced, end quote. So, yeah, looks like we're getting some games on the Vita. I haven't played either of them or heard of either of them, so have you guys heard of these games?
Well, just wanted to interject. So, yeah, you're right. That was the original article. However, after we posted that, I got into direct contact with Pascal, who is the CEO of Orange Pixel, and he let us know some exact release dates. So,
okay.
Yeah, so you can expect Gunslugs on February 11th, 2014 in North America, and February 12th, 2014 in Europe. And I also wanted to let people know that Abstraction will be handling both ports for Orange Pixel, so you can expect a quality port there because they're the guys behind the port of Hotline Miami. So yeah, that's interesting. And then Heroes of Loot is planned for a spring 2014 release as well.
Okay. Now I see the update. There it is. I had to scroll down farther. Okay. I haven't watched the trailers of either game. Do these look interesting?
To me, I'm really interested in Heroes of Loot. Both employ a certain retro sort of 8-bit art style, but I'm a fan of the old Dash and Gauntlet games. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of them, but games like Gauntlet Legends came out more recently. Just dungeon crawlers where you're playing with multiple friends and you're going and getting loot, and that's exactly what Heroes of Loot seems to be, with a little higher emphasis on action. So that's something I'm willing to check out.
Interesting. Wait, is Heroes of Loot multiplayer?
I can't confirm.
Blah. Alright, well, maybe if it's multiplayer, I'll give it a shot, because I like those type of looting games and run around with friends. But who knows? If it's a great game, then I wouldn't care if it's not multiplayer.
Well, the good news is we'll be talking with them in the near future, so then people can expect to hear lots more information directly from us about them. Ooh.
Kyle, are you awake over there?
I'm awake.
Okay, just checking. Are any of these games interesting you?
To be honest, I don't know much about Heroes of Loot, but Gunslugs doesn't look like it's for me.
I gotcha. I feel you. I smell what you're throwing down. Anyways, I'll just move on. Fine, you guys don't want to talk about it. Next up, iOS game Skydrift may land on PlayStation Vita in the future. Developer Tyson Kubata, I don't know if I pronounced that right, but who cares? We'll find out, maybe, if he's listening. Took to Reddit to both announce and gauge the demand for a port of his independently developed and free iOS game, Skydrift. Kubata is currently involved with digital development and design at renowned film distribution company, the Criterion Collection, but also released the self-crafted title in his spare time. Yeah. It seems like he's wondering if people are interested in his game coming over here. Which, I'm looking at the screenshots and I have no idea what's going on.
So basically what you do in the Skydrift, from my understanding, is you jump really high and then you avoid obstacles as you fall down, trying to grab as many orbs as you can. And I believe Kubota said that he designed the game around tilt, so he believes that it would be a perfect fit for Vita, and that he largely I think he even bought a Vita with hopes of developing for it. So he seems pretty passionate about the project, which is always good.
Interesting. So this is why you're here, Brian.
Yeah,
when I don't know what's going on, you know.
And I think he also said he would, if he did release the game on Vita, it would be a little bit more full featured than what you'd find on mobile, and he'd flesh it out with some extra size levels and a little bit bigger of an experience altogether.
Nice. All right. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see if it actually makes it. Next up, we've got a reboot of the 1985's innovative Saboteur, and yeah, you were talking about this last week, Brian, but I don't think we were talking actually while recording.
I think it might have been after we went off the air. I had spoken to Steve Illies, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. He's the CEO of Spirit Entertainment Group, and maybe for a bunch of younger people, you're not aware of what Saboteur is, and you might associate it more with the PlayStation 3 or Xbox release that came out not long ago. But Saboteur is basically a game that pioneered the stealth action genre. Games like Metal Gear Solid and Splinter Cell owe a lot to it, and though it may look primitive visually by today's standards, it incorporated a lot of the stealth mechanics that we use in a lot of games today. So they're looking, I believe, to both reboot it and re-release the original on PlayStation as well, among other platforms. But they will be also doing, the reboot will be a completely new game based in the world and themes of Saboteur.
Interesting. Well, I watched a video after you talked about it last week, and I was like, interesting. It could be fun.
Well, remember that game, the video you likely watched. It's a game that came out in 1985, and so it predates Metal Gear on the regular Nintendo, this Nintendo Entertainment System, by 2 years. So That's a significant jump, right? Like at the time, not many games were trying the things that Saboteur was attempting, and I believe it spawned multiple sequels as well, and they're notoriously difficult. That's another thing.
Huh. Interesting. Well, I'll have to look for more information as it comes, because it's definitely something that I could find myself playing. Right. Oh, quick interjection. Has nothing to do with any of the news. If you check your Vita now, the site it's updated, even though you're not going to be able to listen to this by the time it's going. But I was
this is just for us, then.
Yeah, it's just for Kyle and Brian and Yuki. But there's something interesting in here. On the new add-ons, we got the Miramasa DLC.
Oh, that sounds good.
It's Genroku Legends, Fishy Tales of the Nekomata. It's $5 though.
That's the first episode of DLC.
Interesting. Well, yeah, that's up, and I think Little Big Planet has something, unless it's the same as last. Nope, never mind. Same as last week. But yeah. Are the deals up? Let me see. Yes, they are. The 14/14 sale is up right now. Go grab Spelunky.
What's the 14/14 sale, Tyler?
Well, the 14/14 sale is a giant sale going on if you have PlayStation Plus. And I don't think you have to have PlayStation Plus, though.
You don't.
Okay, yeah. If you want the really good deals, though, you want PlayStation Plus. But there's a whole bunch of games going on sale, and it's only this week, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. So if you have a list of games you've been wanting to buy, but they've been too expensive, this is the time to buy. Just to name a few, there's Worms Revolution Extreme. This is $3.75 with PlayStation Plus. Also, Killzone Mercenary. Of course, it's not going to show it. I have to actually click on it. That is really weird. You can buy it for regular price or buy it for the discounted price. Why would they do that?
Probably because it hasn't updated officially yet.
Hold on a second. It's the only one that does it. It's being weird. If you go to it on the store on your Vita, there shows no price until you click on it, and when you click on it, it will say 3 gigabytes for $35.99, buy now, and then under it will say it again, 3 gigabytes, then it says $17.99, crossed out because I have PlayStation Plus, and it says $9, buy now. It's being weird.
Strange, especially since they list the original price of Worms at $14.99.
That is really weird. Huh. Anyways, grab Killzone for $9 if you have PlayStation Plus, or $17.99. Another big title, Spelunky. Woo! Get that for $3.75. That's a great deal. And Sly Cooper. It's actually a really good game. You should go check it out. It's only $6.75 if you have Plus, so that's a steal. So yeah, there's quite a few more games. There's some awesome titles in there. Sadly, I have almost every single one of them, so it doesn't help me out.
Me either.
The only game I don't have is Epic Mickey 2, The Power of 2, but I don't know about that. Have any of you guys played it?
Nope.
Yuki reviewed it, but other than that, I have no idea.
Hey, Yuki.
I want to pick it up, actually. Just to be honest with you, I'm a big Disney file. I grew up on all those old-fashioned Disney movies passed down from my parents. So I'm going to check it out just based on nostalgia. I don't think it's that great of a game necessarily. I'm not going in with high expectations. But for $7.50, why not?
Well, maybe Yuki's saying the frame rate is not very good, so that's one big killer for me if frame rate is not good. Anywho, there's a sale. Grab some games. Next up, the last bit of news is Edmund McMillan reveals details about Isaac's Rebirth. That is the Binding of Isaac Rebirth, the game that's coming hopefully soon. Yeah, I think he's talking about the art detail, like how they're going for a different art style. Am I totally wrong?
No, you're exactly right. A lot of fans were. He had a Q&A session, and I believe a bunch of people were complaining about the art direction, and they like the original. So obviously they're a little bit more defensive about the original Flash style, and that they're moving away from. And McMillan, I believe he said that if it were up to him, he's a perfectionist, and he would have postponed the game indefinitely had he had been in charge of the project moving forward. However, his collaboration with Nicholas, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, Nicholas, will be the reason why the game sees the light of day, and hopefully this year. And they have their own pixel artists working on the project, so that's how he defended that. And then I believe he also talked about the additions made to the game, that it's just not another port. In fact, it's a newly improved game and almost a remake.
Huh, interesting. Well, that's all we got for the news. One thing about the Binding of Isaac, I don't know if you said it, was that there's no specific release date, but it's hopefully sometime this year. So, if you're interested in that game, yeah, you'll get it this year, hopefully. As long as there's no delays. It doesn't say what quarter it would be coming in, so can't really tell you that. But look out for more news on the Vita Lounge sometime when we get it. So yeah, then that's it for the news. Let's head on over to some listener mail. What do we got this week, Kyle?
Alright, this week I went kind of rogue and bugged the hell out of Twitter for some questions, since we don't seem to be getting any emails. So we've got a whole bunch of short questions. I'll just read through them, and we'll do them one at a time, I guess.
All right.
So the first was sent in by ALCE_X on Twitter, and he's wondering, what games will you be picking up from the 14 for 14 sale, and which do you recommend?
So, at ALCE_X, I think one of the games I would recommend would be Sly Cooper. It's an awesome game, and I don't think that many people really understand how great it is, even though there's a lot of people that actually have rated it.
Wait, was that a Frosted Flakes reference?
That was
a Tony the Tiger reference. Wow.
Did you like it?
No, it was it had a certain snap, crackle, and pop to it. It was
oh.
You guys have both gone Fruit Loops.
I just follow my nose, Kyle. That's just what I do.
Oh!
Cheerio.
Oh, gosh. I'm going to get tired saying this.
Well, since you're being all silly with picking the game that I believe you chose as your game of the week last week, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, so I'm going to pick Spelunky, the one that you were being all silly about and teasing the people. I'm going to address, I believe his name is Belgian, I believe it's a Belgian name. Yeah, Spelunky's a game you can't go wrong with, especially if you live in North America with a sale. For, I believe, $3 and some odd cents, you're going to get hours and hours and hours and hours of gameplay, and it's just a perfectly designed game. So that's what I would recommend.
So I'm going to be a bit of a jerk and recommend a couple games. So you should definitely pick up Killzone Mercenary if you've missed it at this point, because $17.99 for regular members and $9 for PS Plus is a awesome price. So you should really dive in on that. Also, Lone Survivor, the director's cut, is an awesome survival horror game for the Vita, and one of the only out so far, so that's something to look at, as well as The Walking Dead, the complete first season. So if you don't have any of those games, I would get on them right now.
Very nice. Yeah, this sale is crazy, and if you're just getting into the Vita and got PlayStation Plus, it's your lucky day. Unless you got home and had like all those games like in your hands, like, ah, damn it! Then you're gonna have a bad day. But anyways, got any more questions, Kyle?
Yes, we do. Okay, so moving on to the next question. This one's sent in by Shinji Harako at Shirako21 on Twitter, and he wonders, what do you think of Freedom Wars? To him, it looked like kind of rubbish from what he saw of the combat. So, what do you guys think?
Well, I'm number 2, so...
You guys are such cheaters.
I'll go first then. I'm not necessarily as excited as the pair of you seem to have been before. We've mentioned this game a few times on the podcast, and it doesn't strike me as something that would interest me. The combat doesn't look all that necessarily interesting, and there doesn't seem to be much of a overarching story to keep me hooked. So at this point, I'm not really anticipating the title, though it might blow my socks off later on. We'll see.
Well, I'm not going to be a Debbie Downer, but I'm excited for this game. But I've watched a little bit of combat, and I don't know what he's talking about, but it looks kind of like your average Monster Hunter Soul Sacrifice style fighting, which I like. So to me, it doesn't look rubbish, but if that's not what you're into, then yeah, I could see you being a little turned off by it. But I think one of the unique things they add to it is that like hook thing, the red vine or whatever, that you can just like traverse through the level however you want, like Spider-Man, which I think is very unique. And I could see that adding craziness to the combat, because I could just imagine your friends just all whipping around and having a blast. But I don't know. I mean, it's really hard to say with such a... We don't really know too much about it yet. I mean, there's so much more to it with guns and swords and vines and monsters.
That's going to go in the box right there.
I hope so. What about you, Kyle?
Yeah, I'm definitely interested. As for what it looks like combat-wise, I think a lot of those, action Monster Hunter type games don't look so great from the outside, but they're more about playing them than watching them, really. I really find no pleasure in watching Soul Sacrifice at all, but I love playing it, so I think it's just one of those games that from the outside looks maybe like it might be a little bit boring or generic, but once you get playing it, it becomes something that you really want to play.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Any more questions?
Yeah, we do have more questions. We have a whole whack of questions, actually.
Oh, boy.
So this next one, I'm just going to preface this by saying I told this guy to just dive in because there's no use in waiting. He wants to know what he should play as his first game on his newly arrived Vita. And this is Phil O'Scanlan on Twitter. I told him just to dive in and play because obviously this podcast isn't coming out until either later tonight or tomorrow, and there's no reason you should wait to play Vita. So I just told him to, pick something and dive in. But definitely if he has PS Plus, the first game I would go to would be Gravity Rush. What about you guys?
For me personally, I know there's all those sales and there's tons of games to recommend, but for me, you can't go wrong with Tearaway. It's the game that fully realizes the Vita's potential and shows you the promise that this handheld has. In my opinion, there is no game quite like it, and it's an experience you can only get on Vita, so it'd be the best game for me, in my opinion, to recommend as the first game to play.
Well, you guys had great choices, although I already forgot what Kyle picked. What did you pick again, Kyle?
Gravity Rush, Tyler.
Okay, that's right. I didn't want to be a dumbass and be like, you should get Gravity Rush. It's a good... anyways, yes, those are both great choices. Yuki is saying Persona 4 Golden, and that's obviously another great choice. You guys stole all of the great ones. This is why I shouldn't go last. The sale has amazing games. Killzone is definitely one of those games you should grab if you're into shooters. I already said it before, Sly Cooper, that's a great little goofy PlayStation game. Spelunky, we've talked about. If you're into building your own type of level, there's Terraria, which I talk about a lot, and Brian and Kyle love it, so I'm going to keep talking about it. So yeah, I mean, there's tons of games, and luckily, as we've said earlier, the sale has a lot of really good games in it, so almost every single game in this list on the sale is a fantastic game to jump into. And if you have PlayStation Plus, you get, like Kyle said, Gravity Rush. You get Uncharted, which is an amazing launch game, and you get Wipeout 2048 and a couple other free games that are awesome. So grab PlayStation Plus, Phil. Do it. Or die. Just kidding, don't die. Yeah. Hopefully that helps. Yeah, next question.
All right. Devin Hudson, at Devin T. Hudson on Twitter, wonders what developer, other than Sony, would you say has done the best job of supporting the Vita so far?
Well, I would have to say Ubisoft. They've been doing quite well with the Vita, I think. I think they're... what is it? Oh, Assassin's Creed Liberation sold really well, and I'm hoping that they get back down and make another Assassin's Creed, but take a little bit more time, because if you've played Assassin's Creed on the Vita, it has its issues, and a lot of people find it kind of boring, but I actually liked it, and I would love for them to jump back on and make another Assassin's Creed game for the Vita. And also they have their Rayman games, and Origins and Legends are amazing games to get on the Vita. Either one, both of them are great. Yeah, and they've been doing pretty well, I would assume, on the Vita.
Yuki's saying here, Tecmo Koei, how many games they've released alone pretty much stands for how well they've supported it. Personally, I don't necessarily agree with that. My choice would be Namco Bandai Games, because pretty much everything that comes out in Japan that's good is from Namco Bandai, and we get a lot of their secondhand, I guess you would call them, games over here in the West, as well as a few originals here and there. So I really think Namco is doing a great job on supporting Vita.
I'm going to go a little bit off the board and not necessarily give it to the developer that provides the most games or the most high profile, but I'm going to give it to a small developer called Drinkbox Software that you might, Studios, that you might know from Toronto, Ontario. They've continually put out great games, and perhaps they've been on other platforms, but I'd argue that they play best on Vita. And for a small little developer, they seem to really care about the quality of their games and care that they play well on Vita. So that's my opinion.
They do have great games.
I think so.
Yeah, guacamole.
Yeah. Is that all we got for the questions, Kyle?
No, there's still more questions, Tal.
Still more?
Yes,
Whoa.
there is. So the next question is, what franchises do you think Sony will bring to Vita this year? And that one's from Liam Langan at Liam Hangover on Twitter.
Well, I think they're gonna... This is just a shot in the dark, but I think they're bringing Borderlands 2. But it's not confirmed yet. I think Minecraft might... Okay, I'm being an asshole. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I don't know. I'm hoping. This is just hoping. I'm not sure if they will, but another either Uncharted or bringing... wow, I can't... I just blanked. What is it? Infamous. I think Infamous would be awesome on the Vita, and especially if they made a standalone story and whatnot, but the Infamous guys are a little busy with Infamous Second Son for PS4, so the odds of that would not be the best, unless it was another studio that they gave it to. Yeah, what about you, Brian?
Yeah, I'm going to go with you on the first thing you hinted at. It was Uncharted. I'm I'm hoping that there's another game. I'm pretty sure we might have heard of it by now, considering the time of release for most of those games. But I would like to see another Uncharted game this year. I recently interviewed the voice of Marissa Chase, Christine Lakin, and she seemed pretty eager to jump back into her boots as Marissa Chase. So for me, I'd like to see them explore her character and that Golden Abyss type of storyline a little bit further.
I hate to be that guy who agrees with everybody, but yeah, I'm pretty sure we're getting another Uncharted. I wouldn't go as far as to say when or how good it's going to be. That kind of depends on whether they take cues from what happened with the original, but I'm pretty sure it's a safe bet to say that we're getting another Uncharted.
Yeah. This is just a shot in the dark. This is not any educated guessing, but I would love for me to remember what I was going to say. Holy crap. Oh, 2 games that I think, one of them already has been on the Vita, but we all know how that went, and that's Call of Duty. I know Call of Duty is kind of getting overplayed, but I would love for Activision to at least give it another shot with a more stable developer, just to see what it could do, because I mean, a lot of people bought into Call of Duty on the Vita and then realized that it wasn't the best. And I think if it was given to the right developer, it could actually be a really fun game that could compete with Killzone. And on the same hand, I would love to see another I would love to see Battlefield make it to the Vita, although I know it would never, because EA is EA, and they would never do that. But wishful thinking. Any more questions, Kyle?
Just one more. So Dennis Price is wondering, PS Now coming to non-Sony platforms. Any thoughts on that? Some would say this is the death of the Vita. I'm just going to come out right away and say bullshit. I don't think PlayStation Now could kill the Vita if it had all the Vita games on it even. I don't think it would happen. What about you guys?
Yeah, I agree with you, Kyle. The main sticking point here is that no matter what platform you play on, other than a PlayStation platform, you're going to need a DualShock 3 to play it. So tablets are never going to be able to compete with the Vita's inputs. That's number one. And number two, it's just not the same as having a dedicated handheld made for it. You're always going to get those experiences crafted directly for the Vita and that aren't ported. Maybe you guys can speak to it more because you have PlayStation 4s, but even when you use remote play, the experience isn't necessarily perfect, even on the Vita, due to a lack of R2 and L2 buttons. So I don't think that those experiences are going to be fully realized on other platforms, and therefore I don't believe that they'll be able to compete with the Vita.
Yeah, that's very good points. No, I don't think it's the death of the Vita because of this. This is just going to help. Some random Joe is going to be on his tablet, all snappy, drinking his coffee in Seattle, and he's like, I'm going to play this PlayStation game on my tablet. And then he's going to realize how amazing it is and be like, well, I could get the full experience on the Vita, so he goes out and buys a Vita. Boom. Marketing.
Yeah, I don't have to carry around this DualShock 3 everywhere I go. It's going to fit in my pocket.
So yeah, I think it's actually just going to help because it's going to widen the audience to what the Vita has on it, and I'm sure PlayStation Now, they're going to have like little warnings saying that this is not the platform it was designed for, blah blah blah. Maybe little other types of warnings that say you might not get the full experience, stuff like that. That's going to make people like, well, I really want the full experience. So yeah, I think it's just going to help actually. Yeah. Woo! So that's all our questions, unless Kyle wants to throw in another one that he didn't tell us about.
No, I'm pretty sure that's it.
All right. Well, let's head on over to the game recommendation for the week. Apparently it's Yuki, so go ahead and take it away, Yuki. How fascinating.
Speak up, Yuki.
We can't hear you.
He's going to copy and paste something. Hold on. Nope.
I can't remember what the game was, but I'm pretty sure he typed something earlier.
There you go.
And there it is. Yuki is recommending Atelier Maruru.
Maruru?
I just like to do that. Maruru. And since it's an often overlooked game, and I recently played it again. So, yeah. I've played the Atelier Totori game, and I enjoyed it. There's a few things I didn't like about it, but maybe Maruru is a little better. So, unfortunately, Yuki isn't talking verbally, so it's kind of hard for me to recommend a game that I've never played. But Yuki is a very avid Japanese role-playing game player person. So I would take his word for it. Go try that one out. Too bad there's not a demo. I really think they need to start releasing a few demos. At least I don't think there's a demo, because I would have tried it probably.
Yeah, there's not. I definitely think they would do a little better by releasing a demo, even if they did it for the first that they put out of the series, Totori, just because I think people kind of don't know what to expect when these kind of games pop out of nowhere. I know, at least for Totori and Maruru, there was very little marketing, so they're kind of stealth releases, and people shy away from those sometimes.
Yeah, demos are kind of a double-edged sword. Either it's going to help the game or make it worse, depending on how good the game is. So yeah, that is Yuki's game of the week. Go check it out. So yeah, let's get out of here. You can find all the stuff we talked about in the news on the VitaLounge.net. Also, the forum is back up and running, so if you didn't listen last week and you're listening this week, go get in the forum. It's booming. It is getting a lot of people in there. Discussion is going crazy, so get in, join the conversation. That's the VitaLounge.net/forum. Also, you can find us all on Twitter. I'm at Mr. PSVITA Reviews. Kyle is at Teflon Tactics. Brian is at Brian G. Sharon. Yuki is at Yuki_WR. Jasper is at JASBZ. You can find us on Facebook. Just search the Vita Lounge. Also, we do lounge play every Saturday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, and 10 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. This week we are playing Need for Speed Most Wanted, PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, and Killzone Mercenary. So if any of those tickle your fancy, send a tweet to either Kyle or me, or email us at podcast@thevitalounge.net and let us know that you want to be in this week's episode of Lounge Play.
I'm just going to interject there. You can also now post a comment on the forums in the Lounge Play discussion thread, and we'll also be looking there. So if you want to play, there's so many ways to contact us.
Awesome. So yeah, we want people to join in. It's a lot of fun having the community join us, and it's just so much fun killing you guys. So, so join in, and you get to watch yourself either destroy us or get destroyed by us on YouTube. So it's a win-win. I'd like to thank you guys for listening, and I hope you guys have a great week. See you next week.